Welcome to the Notebook Dump for the week ending Friday, February 24th. I'm Kelsey Zeiser. I'm a senior editor at Light Reading, not to be confused with Phil Harvey, who is... where should Phil be today? In the Bahamas, maybe? Where would we like to put Phil, you guys?
I think he's working on his suntan.
He's in all of our hearts.
Wonderful.
Aww, that's so
How sweet.
That was the right answer.
Yes.
Sorry, you guys are fired.
Yep. Nicole, you get a raise.
That's how easy it is.
Oh man, okay.
Saving
I'm gonna write this down. BRB. All right. So, Nicole, what is in your notebook dump other than Hallmark niceties that you just shared?
Mostly
with us?
just love letters to Phil.
Aww.
Thank you for being a great boss, Phil. I couldn't do anything without you, Phil. Stuff like that.
6% raise would be great.
Right. Sure. Well, I believe it or not, there's more government stuff in my notebook. I love government stuff. I wrote an update this week on the FCC's proceeding on digital discrimination. So I figured I'd just give a little context on what that is and why it is and what may come of it. So for context, in addition to providing $65 billion for broadband deployment and affordability and such, the infrastructure law also assigned a few specific tasks to the FCC to further facilitate like equal access to broadband and consumer fairness. So one of those is the requirements that they roll out consumer broadband labels. And another one is a requirement that they set rules to prohibit digital discrimination of access to broadband based on income level, race, ethnicity, color, religion, or national origin. And the background for that is that over the years, various consumer advocates have accused certain ISPs of what they call digital redlining and what is now called by Congress digital discrimination. So the FCC has been soliciting and reviewing public comments on digital discrimination for the past year. And from my reading of the comments, the main concern from service provider industry groups is that the FCC will use this as an opportunity for, wait for it, rate regulation. I know.
I was going to say regulation for sure, but rate regulation. Okay. There you go.
Rate regulation, yeah.
Okay.
Or other regulations around how and where service providers invest. So we'll see how this turns out later this year when the FCC is required to publish the rules. It's required within 2 years of the infrastructure laws passing. But I would just want to point out it's notable for two reasons. One, it's notable that this is an area where industry groups are, again, pushing back against potential rate regulations. It's also notable that this is another way the Biden administration and Congress are trying to tackle digital equity alongside broadband deployments, which is just kind of a new thing for the government to focus on. So
That's my notebook. Going on there. So with the labels, is that where they wanted them to look kind of like nutrition labels? And what's included in there again? Can you give us a reminder?
Well, I think there's some stuff that's still being ironed out with the label proceeding, but basically the point of the label is to give consumers access to information, at the point of sale where they can easily compare stuff like speeds, total cost of their bill, latency, other specifics around some consumer groups wanted reliability metrics that I don't think made it into the final rule. But we should start seeing these labels sometime this year, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear, find out what consumers think of them, because I feel like most people probably don't think about latency, for example, but right. I think that's interesting that they nixed reliability, because I feel like that's a little bit more of an approachable thing to have on there than say latency.
Yeah. So I
should just put, is it slow or not?
The reliability metric is something consumer advocates wanted, but service provider industry groups were not having that at all. And I think that would be a hard thing to calculate and to agree on a metric that would,
how could you
live across broadband labels. Right. Yeah.
DEFCON
Yeah, exactly.
2, or something.
Like AT&T is not going to put out a label that's like unreliable for gaming. Like it's just not.
Like,
it's not going to happen.
And don't use us for
It's great for this
gaming at
stuff,
all.
but
Yeah,
Right.
you're gonna get blown away.
Yeah. So
just so you know.
yeah. So, and that's why
great
I'm
for your
curious to see
grandma,
how.
not so much for gaming. Good
Yeah,
for
I'm
Wordle.
curious to see how all this shakes out because I think it will be a watered down version of what the goal is with stuff like digital discrimination rules and broadband labels. So
Cool.
TBD.
All right. Well, thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Well, I will dive into my notebook. So this week I wrote a story on data center sustainability, which was really interesting to dig into. It seems like, a lot of the big hyperscalers have made it a priority to use renewables, but as you dig down into it, the math starts to get a little bit fuzzy because they are using carbon offsets and power purchase agreements to kind of supplement, what they're really doing with renewables. But on the flip side, they do have to rely on the standard electric grid because reliability, again, I feel like if we had a bingo card, maybe we should put that on there. Reliability is really important for, enterprise and service provider customers, as well as just the day-to-day operations and the efficiency of the data center. So I spoke with Dr. Moises Levy with Omdia and Lucas Barron with Del Oro, and they had a lot of interesting insight on how things have gone with data center sustainability over the past few years. In the early 2000s, the U.S. Department of Energy was really concerned about data center energy usage and that, growth could be potentially out of control. But in actuality, it's about 1% to 2% of global data energy consumption is around 1 or 2%. So it's not as bad as we would maybe have expected. So yeah, that's what's going on there. So let's see who's next. Jeff, what was in your notebook?
Me. Well, the good news is I think we're getting close to the end of the earnings season. I think, but the bad part is like they're all like colliding all at the same time right here at the end. But one I wanted to kind of touch on here was what's going on with Altice USA, because we're starting to see some of the vision of the new CEO, Dennis Matthew, and what he has for the company. And the vision is not startlingly different, but there are a few things he talked about this week that they're going to try to put in place to return the company to financial and subscriber growth. There's a little bit of a change on the upgrade and build out strategy in terms of how the footprint is coming together, whether it's in the New York tri-state area or the more rural footprint, the old Suddenlink footprint. And the basic story there is in the East, it's all about fiber to the premises upgrades. There's no big change because they're coming up against Verizon, Fios, and Frontier out there. But out West, in the rural areas, they're going to dial back some of their intentions on fiber and be a little more cautious and selective, and even expand a little bit on DOCSIS 3.1 upgrades to the HFC plant, just kind of balancing the costs and the bang for the buck and the competitive environment and so forth. And but elsewhere, mobile is going to take a more meaningful role over at Altice USA. They're going to get more aggressive at retail and also explore the development of a kind of converged bundle that combines home broadband and mobile. Sounds a little bit like what Charter's doing with Spectrum One and Comcast is doing with for some new customers for kind of a limited time thing they're doing. But bottom line there, I mean, mobile, I think at Altice USA can use some love. I think they only added like 4,000 lines in the fourth quarter. So if you compare that to what Comcast and Charter have been doing, it's a stark difference. And then the other big thing was on the leadership side, they're kind of becoming Comcastic in a way, kind of a mini Comcast from the leadership side. Matthew, he comes from Comcast, and he just hired 3 execs who also hailed from Comcast onto his leadership team. So I don't see them really just because of that, like, hey, we're going to do the Comcast playbook or anything, but it could mean that Altice USA is in for a bit of a culture shift. So a lot going on there. I didn't even get into the whole pricing thing they're trying to do to kind of fix things. But a lot of new stuff going on with the new regime. Time will tell how that does. I don't think the analysts yet are really convinced that they're doing everything they need to do to kind of return to growth. But we'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I like that. What was that? Comcastic? That's a good one.
Yeah. I think that's like I didn't definitely come up with that one. I borrowed it from probably many other places, but they're definitely getting Comcastic for sure. So
yeah, I like it. Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch, and hopefully they get on the right track. Yep. Maybe they need to mix it up a little bit more.
I think so.
Yeah, Mike, what's in your notebook other than stickers?
Stickers and pictures of my favorite 80s movie action heroes is mainly what I've got in there. That's good stuff.
Who would that be? Not to get too far off track.
Well, I mean, Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger and all the classics. Solid. How about you, Kelsey? What 80s action movies do you have in your notebook?
I don't know if they're 80s action movies. They're probably like sci-fi fantasy, like Never Ending Story. So probably like Atreyu and Falcor would be in there. The Luck Dragon, little David Bowie Labyrinth, that kind of stuff.
I thought you were saying
Falcor, right? Wasn't that the Luck Dragon?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, other than that, though, I will be taking that notebook with me to Barcelona. Kelsey, as you know, you're going to. Both of us are headed onto a plane this weekend to head out to Barcelona for the big Mobile World Congress trade show. It is the big one every year. It is the biggest event in the wireless industry. And now that COVID's over, there's going to be 80,000 people that are heading to Barcelona. So expect lots of pictures of people at airports on social media with the hashtag headed to Barcelona or Mobile World Congress 2023 or whatever, because that's a thing for sure. And so we're getting ready for that. So let's see. This week we've already had a couple of big announcements from Dell and AWS and smaller companies like Solona and T-Mobile about their private wireless strategy. So everybody's sort of gearing up to make these big announcements, about their strategies headed into this year. And then next week, when the show is actually going on, we have press conferences scheduled from Rakuten, from Nokia, Ericsson. And then Kelsey, I think you and I and everybody else has meetings with big companies like Microsoft and Google and AWS. So we should see lots of news coming out of this show. We should see cloud native news. We should see Open RAN news. We should see news about energy efficiency. We actually are going to, Jeff, this will be interesting to you because Cox has a press conference scheduled where they might actually talk about their mobile network stuff. So that ought to be
really
interesting.
Something out there. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So I know we're going to get a little US cable down in Barcelona talking wireless network stuff. What's interesting this year is that we actually don't have anything officially scheduled from some of the big companies like Verizon or AT&T or Dish Network. None of them have scheduled anything big at that show. We do have a keynote from from Verizon. There'll be AT&T people there. But nothing major scheduled yet. But we'll kind of see how the week goes. This is the kind of thing where almost anything can happen. But the thing I'm waiting for, the part that I'm most excited about, is I've got a interview scheduled with the CTO of, I think it's called Kyivstar. It's the mobile operator in Ukraine, and they're going to talk about keeping a mobile network up and running during war.
Wow!
So There's lots going on at that show, but that's one of the meetings that I have that I think
Wow.
I'm probably most.
Well, it sounds like a marathon.
that's
in a
really
way.
interesting.
With all those meetings and how long you guys are going to be out there, like a whole week almost when you put it all together. So
yeah, I'll
I
be
wish you guys the
Saturday to
best.
Thursday. Thanks. So Mike, I'm curious to know what's in your MWC survival kit. In mine, I went to Costco and I bought a giant box of I think there's 36 Kind Bar minis in there. So I'm just going to be eating those and passing them out, making friends. I also bought a bunch of new shoes.
Stealing those out of your bag.
I've got some chocolates with your name on it too. Some Godiva chocolates. I also got from Costco. So anybody listening that's going to MWC that just needs a snack and you're doing a great job, just come find me.
Hit you up. There you go.
Come find Kelsey.
Yeah.
And I'll be packing the giant bottle of Aleve, which is a solid hangover remedy.
Yes.
Just one bottle?
Is Aleve, is that the same as ibuprofen, right?
No.
Or is that Tylenol?
Aleve is very... No, not Tylenol. Tylenol's 2 week, and ibuprofen is mostly for muscle stuff, so you have to get Aleve for hangovers. Okay. That's if anyone's listening out there, that's the trick. Take it before you go to sleep.
Drink lots of water. Maybe don't party with Mike.
Yeah, I've got Aleve. It'll be fine.
Meanwhile, I'm eat well, sleep, drink water. Mike's
Aleve solves it all. There you go.
It's all it's the big bottle. It's the extra strength. That's how you go. That's how you handle Mobile Congress. Good shoes and an extra large bottle of
chocolate.
And chocolate, right. Well, Kelsey has that, so I'm not going to
bring you don't need to bring any of that. They also have really good chocolate in Barcelona, so you can get some there as well. Anything funny that you guys came across this week? Any weird pitches? Interesting news?
All right. So I went to see the Ant-Man movie as I have to. I see all Marvel movies. It doesn't matter the quality.
I saw it too.
And did you like it? It was good?
Yeah, I thought it was good. It
was fine. Anyway, the guy next to me was on his phone the whole time.
No, why?
Talking?
Would you be on your phone the whole time? No. He was just looking at his screen.
Doing Wordle? Yeah.
Wordle.
Had words with friends that he had to finish. I don't know.
What's wrong with people?
Look, man, put your phone away. At the movie theater, put it away.
Yeah. At the movie theater and at the Broadway theater, especially. Yes, where people are live in front of you.
Oh dear.
One time only in this exact way. Sorry.
Nicole, what do you do? I can just imagine you getting heated.
You don't even know. Oh my God. I have my head on a swivel. From the second I sit down, I'm like, who is going to make noise during this production? And so I'll start with a stare, glare, to let you know you're not doing something right. And then I'll kick it up to, can you please stop that? Or like I did to the man a couple weeks ago at Carnegie Hall. Can you please take that plastic bag off of your lap and stop crinkling it during all of the quiet songs? Sorry.
You're not supposed to bring a bag of Cheetos to the event.
Don't even think about it. And if you look, and the playbill is for looking at before the show, during intermission, and after the show, not during the show. If you open that playbill and I hear that thing crinkle, oh, the glare that's coming for you. Oh, the glare.
What if somebody starts unwrapping Werther's or something?
They will. They do. And they get the glare, Kelsey. I say it again.
I'm eating my chips here.
And I will say this behavior has gotten a lot worse in the pandemic era.
Yeah,
people have started taking their shoes off.
Hacked in public. Yeah.
Yeah.
I run into the problem a lot where, like, I was at the dentist's office the other day and this lady's watching something on her phone and not using like, nobody uses headphones anymore. And I thought about just like, the ones that they hand out on the airplane, just like giving them to people and be like, do you need this? But then my friend reminded me that, it doesn't even work with most phones anymore anyway.
Right.
But that's kind of a double whammy to like offer someone headphones that don't work.
Do you need these headphones? I'm going to strangle you with them. How about that?
Pretty much.
Oh, anyway, I'm going back on mute.
Well, I can see we're all very angsty. I think Nicole might need some chocolate and a kind bar.
Yeah, but I'm not coming to Barcelona for them. Maybe I'll just go to the store.
Yeah, just go to the store. You don't need to subject yourself to that. All right. Well, thanks, guys. And thanks, everyone, for listening to the Notebook Dump. So this wraps it up for the week closing Friday, February 24th, 2023. That's the year we're in, right? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.